All right, Brian. So this is my unsolicited advice to help you become a better Reinhardt player video. I hope you don't mind. I think you're a great player. I just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned over the years playing Reinhardt for so many hours, and just kind of give you a little coaching video. Uh, just evaluate this particular game, which we won by a large margin, and you played really well. So this is a perfect game uh, because we did really well on this map. There will be ways to show you that different things that could be improved upon. Like right now, let me pause it right now. Let me back it up. Okay, so this is an example of when to and when to not hold up the shield. And this would apply to the other Reinhardt too. There's no reason for either of you to hold up your shield at this moment. Um, so it may seem like a nitpick to say, why are you holding up your shield right now? But really, shield management is one of your primary responsibilities as Reinhardt. So since no one is firing at you or your teammates, or very little, and no one is really standing behind you right now firing through it, there's no reason to hold it up. So when this Reaper appears here, you should start swinging at him right away. Like, yeah, like immediately. Um, so yeah, that's one thing that I noticed there. Um, like right now, no need to hold up the shield there. What's better for you to do right now is establish your position up in front of the payload here, to create some distance. So another thing about Reinhardt, as we continue to watch the gameplay footage, is that when you're on attack, you want to create space for your team. That's your main function as a tank. Yeah, it's to protect your team, obviously, but you protect your team by giving them space in which to work. Um, so uh, we as tanks, we want to be out in front of the payload. If we're out in front of the payload, that means that we're establishing the front line in front of the payload, and the enemy is likely not to be behind you. They're going to be out in front of you. And if they're out in front of you, they're not contesting the payload. If they're not contesting the payload, then the payload is moving, because if the back line, that is our healers uh, and support characters, if our back line's doing their job, they are pushing the payload for you behind you. So the TLDR on that is you're not responsible for pushing the payload on an attack. You're responsible for being out front so that they have room, your team has room behind you to push that payload. All right. So yeah, try to be out in front as much as you can. What Josh is doing by putting that windshield up on the payload isn't bad, so to say, so much, but it isn't optimal either. He should be doing similar to you, is establishing a front line in front of the payload somewhere, so that the fight is out there, not on the payload. Right now, yeah, lower your shield so you can recharge it. Good. And get in the habit of not holding it up. Like right now, no need to hold this up. You can let it go down. Even now, there's not many people firing there. Okay, maybe there, but really, yeah, let it down. Right now, let it down. Be in the habit of keeping it down until you sense danger, until you start to see those bullets flying your way, then pull it up. Your default position should not be shield up, it should be shield down. I know that's a little counterintuitive, but yeah. That way your shield will have more charge over the course of the game, and you'll have to manage it less. Yeah, like right here. So right here, again, going to that spacing comment earlier, uh, you should be trying to push around this corner and getting people away from the payload. Um, Even you could go up the steps if there was a lot of people up the steps up here, and push people back there, because this is an entry point for the enemy as well. So you shouldn't be back here behind the payload. You have plenty of shield, you have plenty of health, you should be pushing forward. Yeah, I like this much better. Yeah, but don't back up. Yeah, there's no reason to back up there. Keep on going. Push that fight out there. If you go forward, then your DPS can come around the corner and join the fight as well. Yeah, be in front. I like this charge a lot. That was a nice charge. It was. Here's why this charge was really great. This charge was great because you had a wall. Let me back it up to right before you charged. Okay, here. Okay. I like this charge because you had a wall here that was a short distance from you that you would be pinning against, so you wouldn't be traveling too far and too far away from your healers. That's one. Two, there wasn't a whole lot of DPS back here that would have surrounded you either. So that's good as well. You're not putting yourself in danger by doing that charge. When Reinhardt overcommitted, he left Zarya vulnerable, and the only thing that saved Zarya there, even though she died just a moment later, was the fact that she has 400 health. If it was any other character, she would have been dead. It's very nice. Lower your shield here again. Keep on mentioning that, but very important. No reason to have your shield up. This is good. I like how you chased him out of there. Nice fire strike. Yeah, I like this. You don't have your shield up, so that's good. Push out in front a little bit more. See, you should be out here. Right, that way you got space behind you for the team to be pushing the payload, and you're keeping them away from it. We got lucky in a sense that they weren't super aggressive and they didn't understand the dynamics. See, as the defending team, they want to be fighting on the payload as much as possible because that's what stops the payload. But they never got that that strategy memo. So they never pushed up on the payload. They were always willing to fight away from the payload, which is part of the reason why we ran them so hard. They weren't ever pushing up on the payload. The dynamic on offense versus defense, when you have an escort map, is offense wants to fight to be away from the payload so that they can push it, and defense wants to fight to be on the payload so that they can stop it. And the reason why we rolled here is because the defense never really took the fight to the payload. They were always willing to fight out there. I mean, this is a disadvantage for them. For them to fight here, they're clearly willing to fight here. And they've been doing this the whole game. They need to be fighting here where you're sitting up. And your position and Josh's position was allowing them to set up there. But they never took it. They were like, come to us. Well, if we're coming to you, we're bringing the payload, and that's how we were constantly able to make the payload move. So, yeah. And that is their Reinhardt's fault because he's the one who's establishing the front line. If he moved up, everyone else would move up behind them. Just like when I was speaking to you. Ooh, we got to talk about that, so I'm going to pause there. Just like when I was speaking to you about your positioning, everyone's going to be behind you. So if you back up, everyone's going to back up too. And that's going to put the whole team, in a disadvantaged position. All right, so let's talk about this Earth Shatter. So let me back it up a moment. Okay, so right now he's about the Earth Shatter. There's two things to know. One is Reinhardt, unless I missed something, on the enemy team, that Reinhardt has not Earth Shattered yet. So you have to know as a Reinhardt player, you have to keep track of his shatters. And you have to be aware, oh, I think he has a shatter. If you've been killed by Reinhardt, look at the kill cam, and you can see their their ultimate charge status. Try to be aware of their status at all times. Know when they've ulted, and know what their ult charge is whenever possible. And the reason for that is when you are a Reinhardt player playing against another Reinhardt player, you're playing a game of chicken in two ways. One, with your charges, you can cancel each other's charges out. And two, more importantly, with your ults. So here, you should know that you should have known or tried to have known that he was going to have his ult. So you have to kind of keep an eye on him at all times to see when he animates towards his Earth Shatter. When he does that, that's when you have to put up your shield. And you miss that. And I don't even know if you know to look for the animation. So let's back it up and look at the animation again. This is what his Earth Shatter animation looks like. Now, as you know, Reinhardt swings his hammer from left to right, right to left. When you see his hammer go above his head, okay, see, he drops a shield. That's the first indication that he is going to Earth Shatter. He dropped a shield, okay? That's a good first sign. Oh, something's about to go down, okay? Then, you can't see it here, because I think you were about to charge, so the camera dipped a little bit, but normally you'd be able to see his hammer swings up. When you can see his hammer above his head, like he's swinging an axe to chop wood, then you know it's time to put up your shield. When you put up your shield, you're going to block the Earth Shatter. So when you see the animation, part of it is recognizing the animation. Part of it is recognizing the body language of the Reinhardt. A lot of times Reinhardts act different when they're about to shatter. They will behave in an unusual way. They will kind of dance a little bit. They will kind of like look for an angle. They'll have their shield lowered when you think it should be up and things like that. Just watch their body language and be ready for it. But more importantly than all that is knowing when they have their Earth Shatter, you have to be on high alert for that. All right. Nice res by Eric here. Now, they're doing, as a defensive team, they're doing what they should be. They're fighting on the payload. But the Reinhardt, he's so willing to give ground. You know, he's backing up right away. You know, you come forward and he backed up. Now he's backing you up, so I guess he's doing all right. But he got too far away from his healers, so he died. All right, you can lower your shield now. Let it heal up. You know, I thought about that too. Is I know it feels like it's your responsibility to never let your team take any damage behind you, but they can take little pot shots here and there. If there's one or two, you know, projectiles coming through and hitting them, that's okay. That, you know, that's fine. They'll make it work. You know, they'll manage, right? It's partly their job to duck out of the way and get away from the random stray shot. Now, if there's a Widow or a Hanzo on the other team, yeah, you have to be a little bit more diligent and keep your shield up a little bit more often than normal because they can one-shot you. Yes, for sure. Snipers, you have to keep your shield up more often. But in this case, keep it down. You know, remember, have your shield down by default and up when you need it. All right. You know what I'm going to say about your positioning here, right? Be out in front of the payload. They were giving all the space in the world to be out there. So take advantage of that space. Be out in front. Okay. Nice. I like your Reinhardt battle here. You know you have an advantage there. Let me make a comment about this. Okay. I love the fact that you're swinging your hammer a lot there. You could probably do more of that. Now, I know your health is really low right now. That's, you know, that's going to happen. Maybe monitor that a little bit better, but, you know, when you're in the heat of the battle, it's kind of hard to do that, so no big deal. But I really like that you were swinging your hammer there. When you're in melee range, your hammer has more value than your shield, especially if you're in melee range of 2 or 3 or more individuals, and you can hit them all at once. Nobody does more damage than you do with your hammer when you are in a close melee fight. When you swing that hammer and you can hit 2 or 3 people, you are doing more damage than anyone on the field at that moment, and you're going to get a lot of alt charge from it too. There's more value there than holding up the shield. So if the team is willing to like crowd around you and get hit by your hammer, swing your hammer a few times. Monitor your health and be aware of your healers. Make sure that you have someone attached to you and is healing you through that, of course. One of the values that we have is playing as a 4-man team is that you can probably trust, Josh and Eric. I mean, you can trust them, I'm just saying probably in the sense that they may not be the one who's healing, but if they're healing, you can trust them to keep an eye on you and keep you healed. So swing that hammer. All right, before this video ends, I want to make one other point, and that is, I didn't count how many times you use a fire strike, but the fire strike has a cooldown of 5 seconds. You should be using the fire strike once every 5 to 10 seconds, basically using it on cooldown. The fire strike is a great way to generate ult charge. So you may have been able to get an extra Earth Shatter in this short game if you use the fire strike more. Oftentimes they were creating a lot of distance. They were giving us a lot of distance, which is why we rolled them. So if you, that's a good time to use a fire strike right there. But even if you're in melee range, if it's on cooldown, use it. Try to hit 2 or 3 people. You'll get a lot of ult charge. It's like 9 to 11% ult charge for every person you hit. I mean, think about that. If you hit like 3 people, right, you're going to get almost 30% ult charge on one fire strike. So the trick is hitting them. I mean, it moves slowly and there's a big telegraph to it, but try to ult charge. I mean, try to fire strike as much as you can. Try to use it on cooldown whenever you can, because it'll generate a lot of ult charge. Nice. I love this. I love this play of the game intro. It's very good. Nice fire strike right there. Very nice. I love that you're swinging. Again, really good. Yeah, you're doing a great job as Reinhardt. Keep it up. I just wanted to give you a little insight on some of the things that I see. It mostly comes down to positioning. Be out in front of that payload on attack. Monitor that shield, but don't be shields up by default. Be shields down by default and bring it up when you need it. All right, man. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to next time.